Hey everyone, welcome to my channel for another exciting and fun-filled episode on this Passagemaker dinghy build. We got lots to do, so let's get at it. Alright, so honestly I hadn't planned on showing any more sanding out here in the shed, but I did want to show you this part. So I've got the rudder cheek assembly here all cleaned up, came out really good. Real happy with this. Now we can put some epoxy on it on the outside and start that whole process. So yep, looking real good. Really like it. The you can't probably see inside very well, but it's nice and smooth. I used just a rasp file to get the little chunks of epoxy out of there. That worked real well. So now the idea is that this the rudder has to fit inside this rudder cheek assembly, and they tell you in the manual to sand this area down so that you get a tight fit that still moves or some weird stuff like that. So I've got all the epoxy you can see is sanded off this area. I wish I'd thought about it. I would have taped it off and and not epoxied it, but I'd still have to do something with the oversized hole there. But anyway, so what I did is I've been working at it, and it's kind of fiddly. Sand a little bit, put this on, sand it a little bit more, and put this back on, keep trying. So I'm getting closer and closer here, and you can see the pencil lines here on the rudder. So what I did is I got what I thought was a good fit on this, sliding it in, and then drew some pencil lines to give me a better idea of where I need to go. Now you can see I got this one here, and then also this this assembly should rotate, or actually the rudder should rotate on the assembly. So also I've got the other part here. Now I'm not too worried about this this rotation part up here, because a lot less of the rudder surface is in contact with the rudder cheek then, so it's really pretty smooth there. So anyways, yeah, now I just got to keep working away at this, sanding it down, and remembering that, you know, so I've got epoxy on the inside here, but on this surface here I'm going to have at least 1 or 2 coats of epoxy, probably an epoxy primer, and probably paint. This is what I plan on doing. I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. So I think when I'm done sanding this should be a pretty loose fit in here when we're done sanding. So let me get at that, and then I'm not gonna bore you with me and my sander going to town here, but we'll come back and see how we finish up. It is already 88 degrees in here, 67% humidity. I gotta love Florida in the summer. All right, so in order to see the placement of the rudder inside the rudder cheek assembly here, I wanted to go ahead and drill out this hole that we over drilled, and so that way I can see down through it and see where the reference hole in the rudder is. And doing that, I wanted to make sure I had the right size. So this is a 5/16 inch stainless steel bolt. So I got a 5/16 inch drill in here. We'll probably have to work it in a little bit, but having it nice and tight in here is probably going to be okay. The problem comes is that I should have looked at this, is that this bolt they provide is a carriage bolt. I don't know why it's a carriage bolt. I guess if you put it in without the you know, the square part of the carriage bolt down here would be able to dig into the wood to give it purchase. I'd rather have a hex head on here, I think. Also, they've made it pretty long. I don't know why they've made it so long. It's probably a good almost 3/4 of an inch longer than, all right, yeah, so you'd probably need about a 1/2 inch less of a bolt by the time you get the washers on and everything else. So anyways, I'm going to drill the hole. I'm not sure if we'll be able to indent the epoxy fill with the square part of the carriage bolt here or not. We might have to take a Dremel and do something a little funky there. But anyways, let's get this hole drilled, and then we can keep on moving. All right, that looks not too bad. Let me get this off of here, and we'll see if we can get through it all the way. All right, off a little bit, but we still got the epoxy here, so we've got a good hole there with epoxy all around it. Now if I put the rudder assembly on here, go ahead, I'm going to mark as close to the center as I can on this hole, and then hopefully I'll be able to see it when I put it in. Now since I'm here, I might as well go ahead and drill the hole through the rudder. If I can manage to hold this. Good deal. Yep. Yep. So see, I got epoxy all around it, so that is just what we were looking for. So good. So I need to. You can see it's still a little bit tighter, especially once we put the some more coatings on there. So I need to keep on sanding, but at least now I can get it where it's supposed to be here, and we'll get it aligned, and then I can have a better idea of where I'm going to sand. Alrighty then, so yeah, so it helps if I read the whole manual here. So you need to reduce the thickness of the top of the rudder blade by a fraction where it rotates in the cassette, and that's the rudder cheek assembly. Random Orville sander 80 grit makes that fast work of this. Yeah, I must not have the right 80 grit sandpaper. And make sure it rotates freely. And then if we come a couple, 3 or 4 pages later, and it shows you how to install it, insert the carriage bolt through the holes, slip the fender washer over the bolt, and tighten down the star knob. When sailing, you'll adjust the star knob so that the friction holds the rudder blade in place, blade in the down position, but it should be loose enough that the rudder blade kicks up if you run aground, which I expect to happen a lot. But anyways, so that makes more sense of why they've got a carriage bolt here, and why, yeah, so if we use one of these star things here, these star nuts, whatever they call them, star knobs, that makes a lot more sense to me now. And it does mean that I do need to figure out a way to get this carriage bolt down so it's got a good locking position inside there. So what I've done is I went up and got another washer here. They give you one, but I didn't want to mess it up, the one they gave me. So I got another fender washer here, and then a 5/16 inch nut here. So what I'm going to do is try to a couple things here. First, I'm going to get out the old persuader, give it a couple whacks, and see how that does. And then if that doesn't give me what I need, because really I think if I just get a start of an indentant here in the epoxy underneath the carriage bolt, then I can take the Dremel rotary tool and get at least a pretty decent start on where the square part of the carriage bolt fits. Yes, and if that doesn't work, then I'll go ahead and just wrench it down and see if we can get it to get in there a little bit more. So anyways, we'll get going on that. This ought to be fun. All right, we'll start out with the persuader here. Get back this way. All right, here we go. Give it a couple good whacks here. One more. Let's see if cranking this down now at all will give us what we want here. Being as epoxy as plastic, you'd think it would deform enough here to give us the shape we need. Oh yeah, it's working just fine. I don't want it to twist. Let me get a pair of Yep, I think I screwed up the bolt. I think the nut got galled up on it. Means I'm probably going to have to get another bolt. But I think that's okay. I think I can get those up at the local hardware store here. Right now I'm debating whether to go ahead and cut it off or keep trying to get it off. It's pretty well truly stuck on there. It ain't coming off. All right, let me pause here. I'll probably get one of the cutting tools out and get this carriage bolt cut off and get a new one. But I think I've done enough damage for one day. All right, it's been a couple days. I had to recover from this and not be as quite as emotional about it. But anyways, so yeah, I did get this bolt off. I had to actually use the rotary tool to cut that nut in half. In doing so, I did mess up the bolt that I had, this carriage bolt. So that's all right. That's done with. We're okay. We're over that now. So anyways, I went up and I got some new bolts. The local hardware store had them. I've got a 2.5 inch. I got the 2.5 inch and the 2-inch. Still, just in case if I think that 2-inch will work better, I'll use it, or else we'll just go with the 2.5. Now for the problem with the hole, while I was up there at the local hardware dealer pusher, I found these guys. So we've got it's a carriage bolt washer, and you can see how this would work with the square hole in it. Then you would put that in and pound this down, and then that carriage bolt isn't going to turn, which is what something like this should have been done to begin with, I think. But the problem here is that these are stainless steel and these are galvanized steel. Now I think this would hold up for quite a while. I think if you were careful and you put some anti-seize on here or some kind of tough gel or something, I think you'd probably be okay with going with this galvanized. But I've got some other stainless steel square inner diameter washers coming from far away. The only problem is that they're washers and they don't have the tabs on the back, so we'll have to do something there. But I'm thinking I can take them, I'll get them set up, and I'll drill some small holes, and we'll put just 2 stainless steel small wood screws on either side, and then we'll have that all set up. But for now, what this means is I'm just going to go ahead and get this epoxy. Now I'm going to have to come back here and do some work on this later, but for now I think we're ready for a couple coats of epoxy on this. Just a little bit of cleanup from this is where I had to cut it off. So anyways, we'll just sand that away. We won't have to worry about that again. And then I'll go ahead and get going and do the sand on my rudder and my dagger board, and then we'll be back inside doing some epoxy work in no time. Okie dokie then. So we're back inside. I did get the both the rudder and the dagger board sanded down pretty good yesterday morning, and now we're going to go ahead and put the what'll be the final coat of epoxy on both of these. Well, except for up here for where the rudder is. So I'll put the final coat of epoxy on these guys on this side, and then also I'm going to hit up the rudder assembly here. I'll put the first coat on it, and hopefully I'll get another coat on it later today. So we'll get 2 coats on this and then come back and then I'll do a sand on it, and then do the same thing with another coat, and the final coat with peel ply on top of it. So on the rudder assembly, you can see here I actually had to take it down on both sides, almost through a whole layer of plywood, to get it thin enough to where I wanted it to be loose enough in the rudder assembly, so that when I put more epoxy and primer and paint on here, I've still got enough room in there. So I think this will work pretty good. Once I get some epoxy on here and get it covered up, we'll do pretty good. I do have I did take just some packing styrofoam I had left over from something, and that'll be what I'll use for a stand while I'm doing it. So I've got access to all around the edges. So I think that should work pretty good. So let me go ahead and get this set up, and we'll see where we end up at. All right, good. So I got my epoxy mixed up. I got the dagger board ready. I've got a piece of peel ply cut to measure, or cut to fit here. So let's get this party started and see what kind of mess we can make today. Once I get this done, I'll go ahead and move it out of the way, and we'll do the rudder after it. All right, let's see if we can get this peel ply on without any major issues. Alrighty, that didn't come out too bad. Let me go ahead and see if we can move this out of the way without dropping it. Alright, success there. Alright, before I put the peel ply on here, I'm going to mix up some more epoxy because I still need to do the rudder assembly. So I know I'm going to need some more for that, so might as well do it now before I put the peel ply on. Alright, let's find that other piece of peel ply. I think this is it right here. Let's see. Yep, there we go. What the heck is going on here? Did I cut this too small? Just got it. Yeah, close enough. That's good. Alright, I had to put quite a bit of excess epoxy on there to get the peel ply to lay down, so that's why I used the scraper there to to hopefully get rid of some of that excess epoxy, and I'll just try to smooth it out the best I can. I'm not expecting to not have to sand this again. What I'm hoping is that I can put the first coat of primer right over top of this peel ply finish and then do a sand. So I'm hoping I can get the first primer coat on here without having to do any sanding, or at least minimal sanding. We'll see how that works out. Alrighty, now I just got to do the rudder assembly. So I'll pause here. I'll try to get a couple of coats on this rudder assembly, and we'll let the dagger board and rudder dry and be back tomorrow. Alrighty then, the next day, and time to take this peel ply off. See how this came out. It's looking pretty good. It feels pretty good. Let's see here. Alright, well that was a little bit more work than I thought it would be. Not too bad. I'm liking that. Of course up here we'll have to put a, well, I don't think I'll even, yeah, well I've got to go sand it anyways, because I've got some, got to do the edges just real lightly, and we got some little bit of bleed over here on the back, and I want to go ahead and just do this just a little bit here. So we'll just need some light sanding this morning before it gets too hot. I'll probably just hit the edges. Yep. And then I'll leave this surface. Like I said, so the plan is to leave this main surface here. Plan is to leave this main surface just like it is and put the first coat of primer over it, and then do a first sand on it and the primer before I put the second coat of primer on. And then up here, like I said, I'll have to do another coat of epoxy up here. I'll probably even just tape it off along here and probably along here, and then put another couple coats on both sides here. So that's good. All right, let's see how the dagger board looks. Oh yeah. Sweet. Yep, and again, I've got some spots. I'll just go ahead and touch up a few spots along the edges here out the shed. And yep, and this edge, I've got some drips here, even though I tried cleaning them up. So that should be real quick and easy out in the shed to go ahead and get those taken care of. Yep, a couple spots there too. So let me go ahead and get that done. Oh, before I forget, I'm not sure if I'll do this today or not, but I did get the rudder cheek assembly done, and it is pretty darn good the way it is. I'll probably do another light sand on it, but it came out real good, I think. Just needs just got a couple spots, and then again we'll put we'll do the peel ply on this surface here. Not sure if we'll be, well, I know I'll be, yeah, I have to think about this. I would like at least, I'm thinking that to leave this as a wood instead of a paint, and then putting varnish on it. But let me think about this a little bit. I know I need to do some sanding and get at least one more coat on. It's kind of weird spot right there. Yep, sand it, and then we'll go from there. before I go out in the shed, I just something that occurred to me, and I had done this yesterday when I did the epoxy of the dagger board and the rudder. Is so it always bothered me a little bit to have epoxy left over and didn't know what to do with it, and then the squeeze out. You know, if you collect all the squeeze out, there's quite a bit of waste material there. And of all the sailing channels I've watched and all the epoxying stuff I've watched online, nobody says what they do with it. So I think everybody throws it away, and that's what I was doing. But I was just getting it. This is wasteful. So what I did here is take in this case here, this would be, I think it was this one I did. Hold on, where'd it go? Yeah, must have been this one. So anyways, I just take some of these plastic lids you get off of containers, and then when I have thickened epoxy left over from squeeze out, just put it in there and then let it cure, and it comes out to a nice looking little coaster like this. This one here I did today with yesterday with the just the clear epoxy I had, and I used one of those skinny little aluminum cans. Now it didn't come out very good. I had cut the can down, and then the getting it out of that can was quite the chore. And this edge broke off of it. But I haven't been using any release agent or anything like that. But anyway, so my question for you guys is what else can we do with this leftover epoxy, thickened epoxy, regular epoxy? If I don't have something else ready to go, this case it was wood filler thickened. But any other ideas for leftover epoxy? I mean, there's got to be other utilities. There are silicone molds you can find online, but I don't. They're all artsy kind of stuff, not anything useful. I'd like to see some silicone molds useful. In fact, I'm thinking today might be a good day for me to go ahead and write emails to CLC boats and Total Boats and Maz Epoxies and say, hey, why don't you come up with some silicone molds for some useful items? Like, you know, maybe we could do a spreader or something, or some of those filleting tools. You know, it wouldn't be too much for CLC boats to make up a little silicone mold that had a whole bunch of different filleting tools in it. Total Boats, you know, if they wanted to do their logo or something like that, that would be fine. And you know, you could have that for an option on their, you know, if there was an easy way to make a silicone mold for something, I think that would be a big hit for using leftover epoxy. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Alrighty then, that was pretty painless to get the dagger board and the rudder cleaned up, ready for epoxy on the other side with a peel ply on top of that. I'll probably go ahead and do that today, but I wanted to finish up this episode here so I get editing and get it posted. Next week I'll probably show you the results of that, and then next episode rather, I'll show you the results of that, and we'll be working on the yard and the boom next time. Get that glued up, the boom glued up, and then we'll get some epoxy coats on the yard and the boom. That'll be lots of fun. That's why I got this big tall thing sitting in my corner of my dining room. So we'll see how that works. But anyways, I wanted to say thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me, and please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.